Here we go. Are we getting another day? You guys know me. I wait. I wait. I wait. Looks like we're golden. Looks like we're golden. But let me just make sure I see it on the actual. Yes. Yes. There we go. I've seen it and it is good. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning. If you're in my time zone, it's still morning and it's election day. It is happy election day. It's here in the United States, it's election day. Look, no matter what happens, we are still the shining city upon the hill. The hill is made of single-use plastic. That's the part they do not tell you. They do not tell you that part. It's made of single-use plastic, but it's the hill nonetheless. Graham Elwood's going to be hopping on here in just a second. A few quick announcements before we jump in. Shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. Our friends over at ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. Their tea kind of rules. Also, our friends over at triageoil.com, TRIAGE oil.com. They make pain oil for your body, and Trendy Nay educates the public on cannabis. Check out their stuff. Hop to it. It's good stuff. And folks, a few quick other groundkeeping announcements. Thank you guys so much. Some of you tweeted at YouTube about the monetization issue. Apparently, some of you were trying to give super chats yesterday and you couldn't. Also, the stream's been completely demonetized. So as of right now, that has changed. Please do send in your super chats. Graham and I are going to be chatting with you. Send in those super chats. Let us know your thoughts this election day. And if you can't for some reason, like if you're trying to super chat and you can't, definitely tweet at them. That helps an awful lot because that has been, it looks like as of right now, that is fixed. So we'll see. We'll take it one step at a time. The streams get demonetized daily and it became a permanent thing as of yesterday. Now it looks like that's not the case right now because some of y'all complained. Some of you guys were tweeting at Twitter, tweeting at YouTube, which thank you so much for doing that. That means the world. That is infinitely helpful. So super chat it up today. Let us know your thoughts. And let me see if Graham is ready here. Let me go ahead and bring him in. I don't know if he's there yet, but oh, there he is. He's rummaging around. What's up, Graham? Are you ready to hop on? Hey, Graham, are you there?
What? Hi, how are you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, are you excited for democracy, buddy? Are you excited for some good old American democracy coming?
I am so stoked for democracy, man. I am so stoked. Although my day did start off a little weird. Riddle me this, Graham. Riddle me this. Why is it when celebrities do it, it's considered patriotic, but when I show up to my polling place in the nude, I'm banned from City Hall? Why is that? How is that okay or fair?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of racism against gingers, I don't think it's right.
You know, man, I of course I'm kidding. I didn't actually do that. I did the best thing for my ballot. I dropped it off in an unmarked van that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was driving. So I'm good. I am totally good. My vote actually counts double, I'm pretty sure.
I just gave mine to Alex Padilla, the Secretary of State of California, and he was like, "You got it, pal." And I heard he put it in a box, and it sounded like a paper shredder, but I don't know. I trust him. I totally trust him.
That was the counter. It wasn't a pimp. It was just like, good job.
Oh, all right. I guess they do barcodes differently there. All right.
They do it differently. And then that noise was they were actually making you your own sticker. Everyone else just says, I voted. Yours says, Graham voted.
Oh.
And then there's a dude with bald knuckles. Padilla did that for you. He made sure.
So it's a sticker maker. That's what that is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. He's got your back big time. We're totally democracying today.
It's so democratizing.
Big time, man. I mean, dude, it's quite a week. I am moving tomorrow, not anywhere. I mean, I'm just going elsewhere in Los Angeles. I'm not moving out of my wife got a new job. So we're moving closer to that new job because it's a hell of a commute right now. So we're moving elsewhere in Los Angeles. So this is my first time moving while married. So what I'm saying is there are multiple occasions this week where I feel like my vote doesn't really count for anything. Multiple occasions. It's an exciting time.
Well, going through a move is very cathartic because you get rid of a lot of crap and you get to really see like how much nonsense were you holding on to. Like, I found cufflinks and like handkerchiefs and a sushi set when I moved, and I've never used any of those things ever.
You never used the sushi set?
No, I never made my own sushi. I mean, if I did, I would have cufflinks and a pocket silk. But I never made. I had a big muffin tin. Like, oh yeah, you know me. I'm always making muffins. That's what I'm all about. I get it.
You never know when you need a muffin tin.
You never know. You never know when you're going to need a muffin tin and sushi for some insane muffin sushi party that everybody dresses up for, and we wear cufflinks.
Well, I think the muffin tin is more just quality assurance. I mean, like, let's say you're hosting a dinner party and people say, hey, time to make some muffins, which is likely to happen at any dinner party. Very common thing.
Always
then you make the muffins, and then they're like, well, where do we put these? And you're like, I don't know. Like, let's wrap them up with some tin foil. They're like, you don't have a muffin tin? What are you, an animal? And then the dinner party's just, no mimosas for that crowd.
Yeah, well, you never know when like a bake-off is gonna get cooking. You know what I mean? Like, just all of a sudden a challenge, like who can make the best muffins? And so if I don't have the proper muffin tin to make them in, then I automatically lose. So it's
you're that guy.
Yeah, then I want to be caught with my pants down, not knowing how to make muffins, and especially then if I show up without. Because I mean, if you watch the show with any sort of regularity, nice collared shirts and cufflinks are what I'm all about. I mean, that's how I would.
Too.
That's how we dress on stage when we used to do live shows. That's how we do our YouTube shows. Always cufflinks with me.
Yeah. I usually have a pocket square too. Typically.
Yeah.
I don't have my blazer on today, but when I this is like a funny aside on that. When I went in college, I studied abroad for a summer semester, and I was packing, and my mom gave me this sewing kit, and she's like, you might need this. And I go, I've never sewed anything in my life. I don't know how to sew. And she's like, yeah, but one of the other students might need this. You better take this. And she was really adamant on me taking this sewing kit. And I traveled with this sewing kit for years, and I never used it. I traveled with it to Italy. I traveled back to Indiana, where I went to college. I traveled back to Indiana with it, to Pennsylvania with it to see my folk multiple times, and then back to Indiana. I'm pretty sure I moved across the country to Seattle with it. And I think it was only a handful of years ago I finally got rid of this sewing kit and was like, it's been a decade almost. I still have never used this sewing. And when I was talking to my mom, and she's like, oh, how was it going through your moving stuff? I actually said, I was like, you remember that sewing kit? I didn't throw that away. That's long gone. I did find some, receipts for poke dating back to 2015, but no sewing kit. But yeah, man, I had that sewing kit for years.
I mean, I'm a little concerned now that you might not be able to stitch up your overalls when this move happens. Like, how are you going to be able to do that, Ron? Like, I came across some sewing kits. I'm like, when the fuck? I've never sewed anything in my life. Like, what there's no, like, there's so much crap. I was just like, I don't need it. It is so great getting rid of nonsense. Like, I had old VHS tapes. Yeah, that's
well, you never know when you need those.
That's true.
You never know what. Once again, dinner party, only vehicle the person has is a VCR. How are we going to entertain ourselves? Another scenario very likely to happen at any time. And you, Graham, they're like, and they're going to look to you because they're going to be like, Graham, you're the movie guy. Everybody knows this. And what if you don't have a VHS tape to be like, I got it. Falling down, buckle in. Like, what if you're not able to be that guy? That's a big problem.
Falling down on half inch. Click, click. Here it comes. This is going to be who wants some low def movies. Let's
Graham,
do it.
Before we buckle into a election day, we're going to go here because here is some news that got buried, but that is, I think, very important, worth noting. So I tweeted this. Now, by the way, when I went to retweet this, Twitter did one of those things where they're like, this article doesn't tell the full story. Have you gotten something like that ever, Graham?
I've gotten that. I've gotten, wait, you're retweeting without reading the article.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure they do that all the time. Except no, they don't. But they did it for this. Here's something Jordan Cheriton tweeted. Here's the way he put it. A night before the election, because this was tweeted out last night, when it will get buried, obviously it'll get buried, the DOJ releases previously unknown parts of the Mueller finding. Here's the big part here. They found no conclusive evidence that Julian Assange worked with Russia on the DNC, in quotation, hacks, for which there's still no evidence for.
Yeah.
And, I combed through the article. You can comb through the document. It's all right there. They decided not to pursue anything against Julian Assange because there was no evidence whatsoever that he allegedly hacked anything, that he took part in any hacking. And keep in mind, that's the charge they're trying to get him on, because that's the actual crime. It's not a crime to publish materials. It's not a crime when he published the same stuff that The Guardian ended up publishing and the New York Times ended up publishing. There's no crime there. The crime they're trying to get him on is violations of the Espionage Act, which, by the way, is an act that goes back to the First World War, to try to stop foreign spies and stuff like that. It has no bearings on our current society. And they're trying to get him on saying, oh, he helped Chelsea Manning hack stuff. No evidence whatsoever that he did anything like this. If we lived in a civilized society, first of all, he'd already be free. But even if we lived in a semi-civilized society, when this news dropped, when these documents dropped, he would be pardoned immediately, sent home. And let's be honest, with what he went through the past 7 years, he'd be given a settlement so that he never has to even consider having to work for another day in his freaking life. That's how big this revelation is. They have nothing. There is no inkling of evidence that he is remotely guilty of the charges, which of course are completely bogus charges being brought against him. Nothing.
And it's not like a coincidence or like a mistake that it got dropped the night before this election, where all anyone's going to be talking about the next probably 3 days to a week, if not longer, is this election. So there's no, and look, it's so amazing to me. I was watching CBS, their CBSN, their online, like nonstop 24/7, streaming news thing. And they were talking.
Were you tied to a chair with your eyeballs propped open like in Clockwork Orange? Who did this to you?
I like to go, I wonder what the liars are saying today. And they're talking about, the election and, whatever, Biden needs to win these states to win and Trump needs wins these states, whatever. They're talking about that stuff. And they're like, then they start talking about Russia and they're like, well, there's not as many indications that Russia's trying to interfere with this election, although it was very clear and very obvious in 2016, Russia interfered. And I'm just like, man, I'm 2 minutes in and they're bold-faced lying. Mm-hmm. Like, no mention of the FBI report saying that the Clinton campaign hired CrowdStrike. None of the work that Aaron Matei has done is mentioned at all about, no, Russia really didn't. They just say it, foregone conclusion. 4 years ago, Putin really tried to, just like, and I'm like, wow, they just lead with that lie and they do that thing. They just say it as though it's fact. And this is why, all the neoliberals they believe it. Because they watch these CBS and CNN and MSNBC. And they think, well, they're at least easier to trust. They're like, I don't like the media that well, but I can trust them better than at least Fox News can, right? Because Fox News is saying that Joe Biden is a socialist or whatever. Which
I wish.
Oh, I wish too.
Man,
me too.
I wish. I mean, all those things that there was. I was like, I wish that were true. I wish that. I mean, Joe Biden wants a Green New Deal. I wish that were true.
I know. It's amazing. So it's like, I'm already watching and it's already like they're planting the seeds of, you know, interference, hacking, whatever. They just say that, and it's a fact, and nobody looks into it. And when anybody digs deeper that uncovers something, it's never going to get any mainstream play at all. If it does, it'll be mentioned by like one panelist, and then someone else will come back and go, wow, that's not blah, blah, blah. You know, I used to work for the CIA and I still do. And that's, you know, or whatever they're going to come back and say. And it's just amazing. Like, this should be bomb. This should be actual bombshell news, and it's not.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
the thing. Well, and first of all, getting back to what you said, where they'll just say, well, in 2016, they interfered and there was this big interference thing. You know, propaganda 101, repeat a lie often enough. And people will, so it's like when you have 4 years and counting,
yeah,
of course you can just say it nonchalantly and people will be like, oh, yeah, of course. Just like with Julian Assange. Oh, well, of course he hacks up. Did he? Well, here you have from the Department of Justice. It's not like this. I mean, it's from the wolf's lair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like this is even, I mean, you of course have all these, you know, foundations for press freedom that are actual foundations for press freedom, not just some of the fronts like we have here in the United States where people like Adam Schiff are involved with it, but actual, you know, press freedom organizations saying, hey, this is completely bogus. The fact that it has even gotten to this point is criminal beyond comprehension. This is the assault on freedom of the press of our generation. You don't just have that. Now you have, even from the wolf's lair, yeah, we got no evidence of these charges. None whatsoever.
None.
And we're taught that we live in a world where people are innocent until proven guilty. And here you have nothing on this guy. Nothing whatsoever. The only thing he's guilty of is publishing stuff powerful people didn't want published.
Yeah, like
that's what he's guilty of.
You know, like the New York Times and Washington Post have published all this stuff in the last couple of years that is whistleblowing. That and they all should go to jail. Then you can't have which one is it?
Yeah.
So if you're going to call Julian Assange guilty, well, then so is everyone at the New York Times and the Washington Post and anybody that's pushing, that's talking about leaked documents from Hunter Biden's email. Okay, great. Then you all need to go to jail because you're all committing crimes. So what is it? So it's like he's free, and you know, you just watch the lies, and I mean, you know, who knows what they're ramping us up for today. It feels like they're telling the news is like, oh, everyone's boarding up their windows in Beverly Hills and all these cities. And the Oregon governor yesterday said, oh, we're in a state of emergency. No riots, nothing has happened. She's like, state of emergency. And we're going to have the National Guard on standby. What that state of emergency does is, so Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, because of all the protests over the summer, said the Portland police cannot use tear gas. Well, the state of emergency now circumvents that. So now the state police can. So that's what that was. So we need to now start using, we need to circumvent a law passed by the mayor and the people of Portland, who said we don't want that anymore. So to use basically chemical weapons against our own people. The Oregon governor just did that yesterday. So
yeah, and you know, and the mayor of Portland issued that after months of them using tear gas on people already. Months of them using tear gas on peaceful protesters. So you know, to kind of put a button on it, first of all, there are some people running for office that I'm excited about, and one of them is Sarah Iannarone out of Portland, who's running for mayor. Let's hope. I'm hoping she's victorious. I'm hoping she beats Ted Wheeler. I'm really hoping for that.
She's running as a Democrat or a Green or what?
I don't know what the details are on political affiliation for the mayoral race, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, but I know she's running against him, and she's got a shot. I mean, she's been, you know, getting a lot of clout for her campaign. And she's been getting a lot of press, and she's been getting, you know, they're coming after her hard. Like the opponent, they're like, oh, she's Antifa and this and that to try to scare people away. You know, but she's got a big grassroots movement behind her. So wishing all the best for her. And by the way, guys, here's some news that you have to come to shows like this to hear about, and shows like all the independent media shows that are not letting the Assange story die out, and Action for Assange, all the people keeping this alive. You have to come to places like this, places like Status Quo, where I initially saw it from yesterday, to know, like, hey, here's something the corporate media is not going to amplify, and they dropped it right before the election on purpose so that it went under the radar. They got absolutely freaking nothing in terms of the charges Julian Assange is facing, and it's been a 7-year circus. It's absolutely insane, and it is a blatant assault on press freedom. That's the news you won't be hearing about today.
Nope.
Other than on places like this. You won't be hearing about that, except for on shows like this and shows like yours, Graham, and yeah. Fun times. But anyway, but we're Democracy Day, guys. We're we got this. I woke up at like the time that you normally wake up. Like I woke up very early today because I just woke up and I was just like, yeah, I can't go back to sleep. This is that day. What was your feeling when you woke up this morning?
All right, here we go. It was, I woke up and I was like, wow, this is the thing we've been talking about for 4 years, like more so than the election that I can remember in my life. I mean, this is the thing, like this 4 years ago is one of the reasons that motivated me to start doing political vigilante. It was a month or so after the election 4 years ago that I went on Jimmy Dore's show, and I hadn't seen Jimmy in like a year or two or whatever. And I just thought I was doing his little podcast or whatever. And, you know, his garage was all amped, and he was like, man, we just passed 150,000 subscribers. And it's like, that was like 4 years ago. It woke me up, and all the talk that we've had for the last 4 years, and doing my show and becoming more, paying more attention and becoming more aware. I started my show January 2nd of 2017, and I had 164 subscribers. Now I've got 73,000, and that's with YouTube literally unsubscribing people. Like my number has gone down. Like I was at like 73,600, and now I'm at like 73,000. I might even be just below it. So I've just kind of was like 4 years of all of that, you know, meeting you, doing stuff at TYT and Aggressive Progressive, all the Jimmy Dore shows in his, you know, in his garage, all the live shows, you and I starting the tour, the Progressive Comedy Tour, was really all about what happened in 2016 and what could potentially happen today. So it is like a huge moment, I think. And, you know, all the people I've met in the last 3.5 years of doing my show are because of all this crazy election stuff, you know, because of what happened, how Bernie got screwed in 2016 and Trump winning, and, you know, meeting you, meeting the Convo Couch people, meeting, I mean, everybody, Abby Martin, Mike Preisner, Kim Iverson, all these people that, you know, I went from a comic that talked about movies and a little bit of politics to becoming like a political comedian. And, I mean, there's a part of me that wishes I could just go back to just doing TV shows and go back to, and not like nothing, just have my regular life back. But I woke up today and was like, okay, you know, I'm doing your show. I'm going to go live at 5:00 Pacific time tonight. You're going to be on my show, and then I'm going to be on Crosstalk at 9:00 Pacific time tonight. And, you know, this could be, I did a story yesterday that the AFL-CIO said that if Trump, let's say it's in and this is something you talked about on my show last week, is let's say at the end of tonight, it's kind of up in the air, Biden has a slim lead or something like that. It's not overwhelming for either one. And Trump just declares victory, and it's clear that maybe he didn't win. The AFL-CIO, they said they would do a general strike. If Trump tries to just steal the election, they're going to do a general strike. And I was like, wow. So today and this week and this next couple months could be really chaos and rock bottom for America, but it might be that thing that, we've each talked about just privately over the phone and on our shows, is America's hitting rock bottom. You talked about the left is kind of, this is, I don't know. I'm sort of all over the place about what today could, because anything's possible today.
Yeah.
You watch Greg Palast on Jimmy's show yesterday, and he made a great point. He's like, this is, in Florida, if there's some post office that has a bunch of ballots from a precinct that is Black or Latino or typically votes Democrat, someone could get on Twitter and say, hey, Proud Boys, and they go burn that down or whatever. Like, it just could be. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's just think of where we were a year ago. We were like, right, the primary start, burn.
Yeah, burn. It's going to be hard to cheat them this time. We got a movement behind us. What could, unless there's something like a pandemic or something like that, where something totally crazy happens, and then they're able to fabricate this Joe-mentum and all of the 2020 candidates fall in line with it. Unless something like that happens, I think we're gonna. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, it's. And here we are. And it's like, sometimes I wake up and I feel like, wow, this is the hellscape universe. Like, there's another universe where, like, oh, there's a Green New Deal and we're reversing climate change and everyone's working and there's no more war. And,
Yeah. In many ways, it's like everything that could have gone wrong did.
Yeah.
But, I try to keep it in a big picture perspective, because there's a lot of down ballot stuff throughout the country that I'm excited about. There's a lot of measures here in California that I'm hopeful. Some I don't want to see, some I really hope we stop, but some I want to see move forward. So there's a lot of things I'm excited about. In some ways, this election is like your big stereotypical family Thanksgiving dinner. Like, man, there's a ton of potential here, but it's ruined by two old racist white guys at the top, So I feel like I'm trying to hold on to that, but there's still the reality that, I can speak for myself personally. Every year that I've been, really politically engaged, every election day that there's this sense of we're fighting. And, I've never really, there's actually never been someone I supported in the primary who has gone on to win a presidential election. I guess with exception, I did vote for Obama in 2012 because it's like, well, the other guy's Mitt Romney, although Obama has been a little disappointing these 4 years, but there wasn't really a primary. In 2008, I supported Kucinich in the primary. So I've never really experienced somebody where I was really like, this is the person becoming president. I may never know what that feels like in my lifetime, to tell you the truth, but maybe I'll get to. Who knows? Maybe we'll all get to. Who knows? But there's always been this sense of, even despite that it's like we're fighting and we're fighting for something. And there's this kind of sense of like, enthusiasm and just spark and just like, yeah, this morning I felt just, why aren't we doing better than this? Why does it have to be this? Why out of all, like you said, like looking at the beginning of the year and realizing this is what it's come to. It's just being like, we can do better than this. And so, yeah, when I say stuff like this is rock bottom, in many ways it is. Like, when you look at, especially for the American left, like what it's come to, where the courts are at, where the middle class is just gone. It's non-existent. The fact that, like, even in the third party world, chances are nobody is going to even get close to that 5% threshold. It's not going to happen. We are very scattered. We are very fractured. In many ways, it's not looking good at all. The other side to that, because hitting rock bottom, when you hit rock bottom as a person, it's like you hit rock bottom and then you're like, okay, this is a wake up call. And for some people, it's a blessing in disguise. But when it's a society that's hitting rock bottom, it's not linear. So it's not like, well, we've hit rock bottom and there's no silver linings. There are silver linings. Where are some of those silver linings? Well, organizations are blowing up in membership. More people are protesting than ever before. There is civil unrest of historic proportions. No matter who sits in the White House when this is all over, people are not going back to sleep. At least I sure as hell don't believe they are. And when I say the Alyssa Milanos of the world, if Joe Biden wins, will they go back to sleep? Sure. But you know what? They were never awake in the first place, so I don't give a shit. But like the Zoomers, the millennials, like the people who have really just been jolted into this is what's going on in society. They're wide awake. They're engaged. They're doing more stuff in their community than we've seen, I would say, in decades.
Yeah.
So that's the rearing up. It's like, yeah, we're hitting rock bottom, but when you hit rock bottom, you kind of plummet up too. And that's why this is happening simultaneously. And you kind of look to this as, yeah, this is rock bottom. If there's a rock bottom beyond neo-fascist in one corner, neocon in the other corner, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I know it's going to be enough that it's going to, I mean, we're done. We're completely done.
Yeah. If it's, yeah. And I agree. I think there are some like bright spots of people just saying, waking up and saying no. And you're seeing people like Kashwama Sawant, who never would have made a city council 20 years ago. Never, not even 10 years ago. She couldn't have gotten on a city council 10 years ago. And you see stuff like that. And again, you know, down ballot, I think we're going to see some surprises. I think we're going to see progressives win. I think we're going to see some Greens get in there and some independents and some Peace and Freedom Party. I mean, just like, wait, huh? What? Like you're going to see some, you know, local ballots change a little bit, and you're going to see some ballot measures that are going to be really like reflective of people, of all the protesting to a certain degree. It's I mean, the only time I've ever had someone I mean, I was like, oh, okay. I was really for Obama in 2008. And I was like, wow, this is real change. And I remember I was married at the time, and my wife was from Brazil, and she was half Black. And she said, you know, now we're all equal. Like she was a big, significant moment for her as a woman of color and an immigrant. And, you know, she still has to take shit because of her accent and all this other stuff. And I remember it was, you know, it was really challenging when she first moved here, and her English wasn't that great. And, you know, Latinos kind of, you know, Brazilians speak Portuguese, Latinos speak Spanish. So she felt very sort of isolated a little bit when she first moved here. And when Obama won, it was like, she wasn't registered. She wasn't a citizen yet, but she came with me to the poll, and I was like, vote with me. And like, we got to press the button together, and we had a friend take a photo of us each holding the ballot and putting it. And I was like, you're participating in American democracy. And I was like, oh, it's not perfect, but you know, and Obama, as we've all discussed on our shows for years, was a colossal disappointment. But the significance of a Black man with a Muslim name winning landslide overwhelmingly twice is not a small thing. America has clearly really serious we have racism, and one black president wasn't going to fix that. But it was like, oh, America can sort of self-correct when it needs to, is what I thought back in 2008. But then, you know, so that's the only time I've really, because like I voted for Jerry Brown in 92 in the primary, and I like Clinton was like, all right, I guess this guy's just like a half an inch to the left of the Republicans. Fine. In 96, I voted third party. In 2000, I voted for Al Gore just because I really was like, that's the 90s is when I started paying attention to climate change. And I was like, oh, you know, Al Gore, like his climate policy, you know, we gotta get this in there. I'm not a fan of Joe Lieberman, but like, we gotta get this climate thing. We have to do something. So he's the best chance at that. He, of course, runs a shitty campaign, and everybody blames Ralph Nader rather than the Secretary of State of Florida that didn't allow 170,000 votes to be counted.
Yeah, they stole the election from Al Gore, and he actually would have done worse had Nader not been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what nobody loves. Everyone still loves to deny that. Everyone still loves, or look at the Electoral College. People still love to refuse to do that.
And it's like, so, you know, '04, I was like watching these wars, and I was like, oh, John Kerry, I get, I was like, oh, Jesus, like he's our best chance against Bush, who I did really is a war criminal, a liar. And so I'm just like, I had one time in my life where I was excited, and then that guy let the bank steal my house. So
yeah,
I'm trying to not be super pessimistic, but when I was like in college and started paying attention to stuff, I was like, oh, America could collapse at some point in my lifetime. I mean, I remember saying that in my 20s. And
you should have placed a bet on a year with somebody.
Yeah.
You could have, I don't know if you would have picked right, but you could have been like, yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be here. Then you'd be calling up a college buddy soon, be like, I think pretty sure I won this. Can we go with I won?
Pay up, buddy.
They're like, we were never anticipating a pandemic. Yeah, but that wasn't in the rules. We never discussed that part. I still win.
The pandemic just accelerated.
You know what, man? We've had that conversation on the phone, but I don't think we've ever discussed it on either of our shows. In so many ways, and especially on the micro level, like in our industry, for instance, in so many ways, this pandemic just accelerated what was already happening.
Of course.
It just accelerated like all this stuff that people are saying is that, especially in the comedy industry, they're like, oh, this and this. I'm like, yeah, all that was already happening.
All of it.
And some of us who had been sounding the alarm for a long time, hey, these agency models, they're not going great. They're kind of becoming a thing of the past, especially with the internet. The club model needs a lot of work if you want it to survive. And now look what's happening.
I know all the clubs that didn't want to wire themselves for audio and video live streaming and podcasting that were like, oh, you podcast, right? Some of them have already gone out of business. Now, a club like Flappers, which put cameras and shit in there from the beginning, and they've got a shot at surviving. They've got a shot at it. And other clubs, some of the clubs that were trying to get different business models going and stuff, but you're seeing, yeah, anyone's like, oh my God, the government's just printing money. I go, what do you think happened in the '08 crisis? They gave them $1.4 trillion, and then nobody's house. If that $1.4 trillion prevented 6 million foreclosures, then it's like, well, that's the government did a good job. Obama, that's why I voted for him. He was the guy. And, he was great. He came in FDR style and did it, and no, it's like that happened. A friend of mine brought up a great point. He's like, when is everyone going to wake up? You think they would have woke up after the financial crisis? You think they would have woke up after Edward Snowden? You think that there would have been these take to the street moments, but the ruling class has done such a fine job of propagandizing everybody, not just in the news, but you watch all these movies and streaming services, and the CIA is always depicted as good guys. They do some shady stuff, but ultimately we need them, right. That's, and Russia has become the bad guy again in the last 5 years in Hollywood, especially the last 4 years. And it's like America, I want to have hope for it. I want to see it. I want to see people wake up, but and look, as a road comic who's traveled around this country for 20 years, when Trump won and neoliberal friends of mine who lived college educated, lived in big cities, who don't travel through the middle of the country the way we do, they were like, what? Oh my God, where did all these racists come from? They've always been there. Where do you think? They've always been there. You just didn't see it because you just fly to Chicago and New York and Fort Lauderdale, and you don't drive through the country the way we do. You didn't see a pickup truck with a bumper sticker that said, if you take my guns away, what am I going to kill all the liberals with? I've seen bumper stickers like that. I've seen Klan. I've driven to get to Bloomington, Indiana, where you went to college. You have to drive through Martinsville, Indiana, the birthplace.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah, you're aware because
Yeah.
you live there. But, oh, I grew up in, wherever, Denver, San Francisco, some big city. I went to a big city college and I saw little glimpses of it, but I'm not seeing it on a daily basis. And now I work at a nice white collar job where human resources says you can't say mean things in the break room. And you think that's the rest of the country, and you're wrong.
Right.
And
It is so interesting, man. Like, yeah, like Bloomington, Indiana, which is like the big blue dot of Indiana. It's like I would say it's fair to say it's the most progressive town in Indiana. I would say even more so than Indianapolis. But like just north of it is literally the birthplace of the KKK in Martinsville, Indiana. Just like in Oregon, it's like you have Eugene, and then you have like actual Klan towns, like just south of it. It's just, man. I mean, wow. We are at the end of the day just a very big, crazy experiment. We really are.
yeah,
But
we let the Nazis, we didn't completely wipe them out in World War II.
mm-hmm.
We just took away their power base in Germany, but we let a lot of them scatter, and the CIA brought a lot of them here, to work in the government. And then we never really, we didn't put the hardcore laws in place like Germany did, like just outlawing the Nazi, and we're like freedom of speech, which I'm for it up to a point, but we can't be, we weren't tolerant of Hitler. Hitler well, he deserves everyone deserves a voice. No, no, he doesn't. So I don't know. Like, I think we're going to see, I mean, you and I talked about this. I don't know the America we see today, these 50 states in its form, 5 to 10 years from now, I don't know that it's going to look like this. I think there's going to be.
I don't think it can.
It can't. It's impossible.
It can't. It just doesn't have to be worse. That's right. The thing. It's not. There is. I mean, and we've both said stuff like this, and a lot of people have, and I think it is true. We're not going back to normal. That's not happening. But the glimmer of hope there, it doesn't have to be worse. It can be better. It doesn't have to be worse. That's not, I mean, because look, normal wasn't that great. Normal got us here. Normal freaking got us here. And, bringing it back to the election, this is not a competition between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump versus himself. And Donald Trump, I mean, I think that what Trump did in 2016 was he really captured a lot of people that were just so tired of being beaten by just beltway politics as usual. And 8 years of Obama, and nothing got better. And prior to that, they took a chance on Bush, and then they took a chance, and they're so tired of the cycle. And they can remember back to Clinton when that disappointed them and how NAFTA screwed them over, that they're like, we're looking for some outsiders. So they took a chance on this snake oil salesman who made bogus promises like he was going to reopen steel mills. That they took a chance on it because they were desperate. And Trump isn't doing that as much this time around. I don't know if you noticed that. He's not doing that populist thing, that fake populism. It's not actual populism. Actual populism is left wing, but the way it's been co-opted, he's not really doing that this time around, which is him, in essence, doing everything he can to beat himself.
Yeah, it's the thing that's going to determine today is how the mail-in ballots in the key states are counted or not. That's what's going to determine it, because we have such a high number of mail-in ballots because of the pandemic. As of yesterday, there was 96 million ballots cast already, which is like almost 70% of the total number of votes cast in 2016. So that's what's going to, I guess, as I was watching today, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this could be changing every 3 minutes, but the Supreme Court said that Pennsylvania can continue to count after Election Day, because that's the thing Trump is going on. He was saying in rally, we shouldn't keep counting after the election, which is so obvious because he knows he doesn't have the majority. There was the low voter turnout 4 years ago. And even with low voter turnout, you had 3 million more people voting for Hillary, adding the 7 million for Gary Johnson and the million for Jill Stein. So you had 11 million extra people that didn't vote for Donald Trump in the last election, right? So, and with this high, and they know this, the Republicans know high voter turnout usually favors and early voting favors the Democrats, right? So they tried to say drive-through voting in this one precinct in Houston, which is primarily Black and Latino. They were trying to discount those votes. It's not constitutional to vote in your car, whatever bullshit they came up with. The Texas Supreme Court said no. Even so, it'll really depend on, the various Secretary of States in these key states, what's going to happen. I'm going to put this out there, that there's a wild card that I don't think anybody has discussed, which is the huge number of people that have moved away from California. And they've moved away because California is a very expensive state in general. Los Angeles, Southern California, and Northern California, those areas are some of the highest rents and mortgages in the country, right? And what's happened, and this is before even George Floyd, but when the pandemic first hit, a lot of people were like, people who lost their jobs are like, I can't afford this high rent. I'm moving back with my family or friends. I'm going somewhere cheaper, whatever. People who were working at home were like, why are we paying this massive rent? Why are we paying this huge mortgage? So I've heard property values and rents in Wyoming and Montana have gone up. I've had a fan say Omaha's going through the roof. I've heard people in Arizona say, oh my God, the U-Haul stores in Phoenix overrun with people who one-way dropped off trucks. Like there was too many trucks dropped off in Phoenix. People who were leaving California had to drive to Arizona, get a U-Haul, drive it back to California. I've just personal friends of mine who have moved. I know people have moved to Arizona, to Texas, to Florida. I know all these people that have left California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, I'm guessing, and again, this is just a hypothesis that I've had in my head for a while. Some of those people, I would imagine, registered to vote in those states. Some of them might still just be thinking, well, I might come back to California, so I'm gonna keep my California vote and just vote by mail. But Arizona is being called a swing state now. Like, what if all these liberals leaving California change the makeup of these red states and more people are showing up to vote in general? So I don't know what thing that could happen tonight. I mean, some people are predicting Trump might have a landslide. I don't know, could be. But Biden could have some crazy landslide and pick up some red states that nobody ever saw coming.
I can't believe you broke the first rule of Fight Club and just gave away California's plan to take over the country. We weren't supposed to say anything. We were at the same meeting, and I remember the end when they were like, don't say anything.
Don't mention it.
Don't say anything. And they thought I was the problem. They were like, ginger guy who talks to a cat. We're looking at you. They didn't say anything about you, and here you are spilling the beans.
Yeah, I'm telling you, California has 45 million people in it. And if 5 million of them, which is 10% of the population, even if 2.5 million people roughly leave and go sprinkle out throughout the country, and they go to these cheaper states, many of which are red and have small populations, you're talking about an extra 20,000, 50,000 people could swing something.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is my pie in the sky. But again, even Biden winning, I will be like, oh, great, Trump's gone. He's awful. But now we got the
neocon.
Yeah, we got the neocon. We get the lesser of two rapists who's not gonna defund the police. He's not gonna ban fracking. He's not gonna give us Medicare for all. He's not gonna give us free college. And the vote any blue will do crowd will go back to brunch, and you're not going to pull Joe Biden to the left. For 47 years, he's been pulling to the right. I don't know why in this last, now he's going to, so I don't know.
Well, haven't you ever negotiated with somebody, and when you give them what they want, they give you what you want after that? I mean, isn't that usually how it works? Like, what does he want from me? Well, he wants my vote. I better give that to him, and then he can be pushed left. I mean, that's just a fantasy. You know, the way I like to look at it, it's like, okay, if Biden becomes president, he's not going to be pushed left. And more people are going to realize that. More people are going to realize that's not how it works. And more people who are awake and engaged are going to realize, you know what? F this duopoly. This needs to break. We can't do anything constructive within this duopoly. We can't have two Wall Street owned parties. More people are going to wake up to that.
Yeah.
And that's another silver lining. More people will wake up to that when they see this spoon-fed bullshit that, oh yeah, he's going to get in and we'll push him left. It doesn't freaking work that way. And when you see it not work that way, more people are going to be like, you know what? F this. F the Democratic Party. F the, like, we are done. And there are a lot of things, like, I mean, I had a conversation about this on the show yesterday where it's like, there's so many parallels where the Whigs were just plummeting downhill desperately. So many of those parallels are happening right now. The people don't have confidence in the Democratic Party. They're leaving in droves. And this is an institution that has no interest in changing and little interest in winning. If they did, Bernie Sanders would be the nominee right now. We'd be having a totally different conversation.
We'd be like talking about a electoral landslide. We'd be talking about all this stuff. I mean,
we'd be talking about travel into DC.
Yeah.
We'd be talking about, like, hey, is it safe? Can we take a plane? Let's go to DC.
Yeah.
I want to be there when Bernie gets inaugurated.
Yeah. Maybe
now, I mean, maybe we try. Maybe we just make a road trip, document it, make video. I mean, yeah. When you think about what this year could have been, it's so. I try not to.
It's hard, man. It's so hard, especially when you think about like where you and I were in January and February. We were doing all these cool live shows. We were doing our tour. We were starting our 2020 tour up. We were doing shows with Jimmy. We went to Portland with Jimmy. And then we went to Tucson, and then we did Tempe with Jimmy. I mean, those shows in Sacramento and San Jose were fucking awesome. Then we did our final show February 29th in San Francisco. We had this tour mapped out. We were like, we're going to be at the Democratic Convention. That's a done deal. We had hotels lined. We were going to do this. We're going to do all these tours. We had tour dates through October. And we were going to shoot a comedy special. Each one of us was going to have our own, we were going to, in April in Seattle. Or maybe it was Portland. It was Portland, I think.
We were in Portland. We were going to shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Portland. We were
in that room. Yeah.
In that room. And we had camera guys lined up. We had the budget. I had an editor ready to go. We were going to use some of our Rockfin cryptocurrency to pay for it and call it the first ever crypto comedy special. So we each were going to walk out of there with a 45, 50-minute video special and a new audio album, which was products for us to sell. Because we had this year, I mean, it was the best hour of stand-up I'd ever written. I thought I was really proud of it politically, comedically. And I was like, we got to get that done before the convention in July. And, all these plans. And it's just like, whoop. And I mean, look, hey, we're both grateful. We've got our YouTube shows that we're paying our bills. We both have comedian friends of ours who just aren't working or whatever. And there's no stimulus. There's a lot of people out there struggling. So, but yeah, man, we were like, we're going to be at the convention and, Bernie's not.
Oh yeah. We were going to be at the convention. I had a hotel in Wisconsin booked.
Yeah. We had I
had a week. Like I had that marked out. I'm like, yeah, I can't, I'm going to be in Wisconsin.
We had all these shows. Remember, we were going to flying to Chicago, do a show in Chicago and then drive up to Milwaukee. And then we shows. Yeah. All this stuff, all these people were going to have us. The People's Party convention was going to be across the street. We were just going to be booked.
We were going to have our show. Oh man, our show in Milwaukee. It was the night before the convention was going to start. So there was a good chance. I mean, Jimmy was planning on stopping by. Lee Camp was planning on stopping by. Bunch of other folks who were at that convention were planning on stopping by. I mean, it was going to be a huge just blowout, man. It was going to be so much fun. Oh,
I know.
Well,
We shouldn't talk about it anymore.
yeah, it's really depressing, isn't it?
It
Let's
is,
do
it
a
is.
couple. Let's do a couple super chats.
Yeah, read some super chats, Ron. That sounds fun.
Lynn, what's up? How are you, Lynn? Happy election day to both of you wonderful hosts. Thank you so much, Lynn. And we're going to be doing stuff throughout the day. And starting now, it's gonna be a time, folks. It's gonna be a time. Sam Dean, what's up, buddy? As I asked David Pakman yesterday, genuine question. What is one of the most oh, this is a fun question. What is one of the most embarrassing things the Trump administration has done? Please don't say everything. Just name a thing. Cheers, guys. All right. What's the most embarrassing thing the Trump administration has done? I'll go first, I guess. I would say the handling of this pandemic has been, I mean, I don't know how you can, there's a lot to pick from. Illegally assassinating a general and instigating Iran, bombing Syria while watching the media call him presidential, taking food stamps away from nearly 1 million people, just gutting and violating the Supreme Court while Democrats just passively let it happen. There's a lot to point at, but I would say if I had to pick one thing, the handling of this pandemic that has just been a middle finger in the face of science and medicine. He's misled the people on a daily basis. He wasn't working alone, of course, but this administration's response has been absolutely humiliating, to say the least. We are an embarrassment amidst the world.
I mean, to get specific, yes, I would agree with that. To specifically get into it, it's the no mask thing, like saying you don't need to wear masks. And they have now tied 700 COVID deaths to Trump rallies. So he's literally killing his own people. But that's what cult
Herman Cain wasn't a wake up.
I know.
Herman Cain, like he didn't even mention it in the debates. After Herman Cain had died during a debate, he said, everything's been fine at my rallies. Like, he's dead. It's unbelievable.
This is what a cult leader does.
Yeah.
They want to kill. They don't care. They're, I mean, like literally, like this is what Jim Jones did in Guyana in the 70s or early 80s. Like get everybody to drink the Kool-Aid and kill everybody. Like this is what sociopath, narcissist personality disorder people do. So, I mean, if Trump loses handily, I mean, get ready for him to just say, go out in the streets and do whatever you want to do. I ain't leaving. You know, like he's going to just go nuts. I mean, they've beefed up security around the White House.
Yeah. Yeah. If he wasn't a total narcissist, I think he would actually want to lose. Do you think that's so? Because here's my logic behind that. Like if he, and both of them, I mean, neither one of them really wants the job. Let's be honest. Neither one of them. I mean, they look around. I mean, this is the first presidential election of my lifetime where I'm pretty convinced neither one actually wants the job itself, nor are they anywhere close to being qualified to do it. But I think Donald Trump, especially, he never wanted the gig in the first place. He wanted to start a freaking TV network. But he got the gig because so many people told him he couldn't get the gig, all of his rich friends. So he was like, screw you guys, I'm going to prove you wrong. And he did. He won in 2016. I feel like now he'd be like, you know what? I do not want this job. This job really freaking sucks. I'm enriching myself, sure, but I can do that by other means anyway. All I really want to do is start my network. So after I lose this thing, I'll just cry foul. And my base will love it. Everybody loves like a martyr story, right? Who doesn't love that? Everyone loves a martyr story and an underdog story. So he'll be like, I was cheated. And then his network will be more successful. He'll do what Sarah Palin tried to do and failed at.
Then he can just play golf.
Yeah, you can watch Trump play golf. That'll be one of the shows. Like show hour 1, Trump talks about whatever's on his mind while simultaneously tweeting the same bullshit. Hour 2, Trump plays golf. Hour 3, Trump has a meal. And it's like, well, this is real exciting. Will it be KFC again or will it be McDonald's today? And he'll be happy as a clam on his network and his sycophants can watch it. And that's it. That's it. Yeah. That's all. I mean, if he wasn't a total narcissist, he'd be like, if I lose this thing, my network's going to crush it.
Harry Truman supposedly said that the Oval Office is the crown jewel of the American penal system. So I think most I think there's got to be a part of a president that loses that goes, oh, thank God. Like I could just like, I could do a book tour now. I don't like have to go through this. And Trump never wanted this job. He doesn't want to work. You remember when they released his like schedule and like every other hour was like private time or Wendy's snack break or whatever the fuck it was in his thing. It just like your donut liaison conversation.
On Sundays, he had Wendy's private time. It was very weird. We still don't know exactly what that was.
Yeah, Wendy's private time, just like soft serve conversations or whatever he had. You know, just like
soft serve conversations is like a very fun descriptor for the news media. Like, hey, are you ready for some soft serve conversations coming up next on MSNBC? It's like they call it hardball, but if they're being honest, they'd call it soft serve conversations.
Call it soft. Call it what
it's like. Here's some bullshit problems that like rich people want you to think are actual issues. That's like every news show. Every single freaking news show is like things that aren't actual problems, but rich people think they are. Really rich people think they are because yeah, they want to keep running this place. That's every news show.
Yeah, and it's pumped full of sugar and fat and air. There you go.
Yeah,
soft serve.
Just shit.
Shovel this in your dumb mouth. There you go.
That's what, man, we gotta make a banner for this like fake news show now. Like MSNBC, soft serve conversations. Shovel this in your ridiculous mouth. Put this in your dead face. Put this shit in your face and shut up. Here's an oil and gas commercial. Put gas in your car. Fuck you. Here's a weapons contractor that buys favorable coverage from us.
Right. Now go drink a beer and watch the ball game, you dead-faced moron. Now just shovel that in. Go buy an SUV and shovel it full of bullshit. There you go. Eat it. News. Next on the news hour.
Next on the news hour.
Next on the news hour.
Brought to you by Gun Steaks.
The all-American U.S. choice gun steak. Put it in your pickup boat that drives across 4x4 boat pickup. Gun steak boat pickup. Now wrapped in bacon. Get it ready for the big game. That's who's brought this new segment is brought to you by Gunboat Steak Chop or whatever.
Exactly. Here's a fun question. Kate, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. What is your favorite grift from a politician? Love you guys together. Thank you so much, Kate. We'll be doing stuff all throughout the day. What is your favorite grift? That's another fun question and a tough one. What is your favorite to just pick? And I guess by favorite, you mean like what's kind of like, wow, that's a hell of a grift. It's evil as fuck. I don't have a favorite in the sense that, man, that grift really helped me out. But a favorite in the sense of, holy shit, that just is the top of corruption mountain. Goodness gracious me, oh my. What's the top of the mountain grift? That's a tough one. Graham, do you have anything?
I don't know. I mean, you could look at the skill set that is required to like get, banks to fund your campaign, and then you give them stimulus money, and then they steal people's homes, and then they pay you to speak at their things after you leave office. I mean, that is a beautiful grift. Although I am a little partial, I'm from Chicago. So like, I kind of like good old school local politician, here's an envelope kind of like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You keep that meat packing plant open in my district and I get free steaks in an envelope. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm
old fashioned grift.
Yeah. I just like old Chicago style mob boss / union / mayor, Mayor Daley style, that kind of stuff.
You like your grift with a side of Capone.
A little bit. Like
being a Chicago guy.
When they were opening up riverboat casinos in the 90s, a bunch of states found these old laws on the books that said you could have gambling on the riverboats, right? So Illinois, Mississippi, Missouri, all these states, started to do riverboats, right? And then the Native Americans started to go, well, shit, we can have casinos there too. So around the Chicago area, down in Joliet and Aurora, they started to open up these riverboats, right? And so they were like, well, we need to get casinos in downtown Chicago. And people were like, casino, we don't want casinos in our city. And I remember seeing a woman on the train. My buddy saw a woman on the train. She had a casino with a line through it. And he said, why don't you want casinos in the city? She goes, well, that'll bring organized crime into the city.
Chicago has never had that before.
Never.
Read about the history of Chicago. They've never had that. We're not going to start now.
Clean as a whistle, Chicago. And it was so funny because, you know, the mob was like, well, then we're going to lose all of our gambling establishments. And they were talking about maybe bringing in a casino in downtown, but they're like, no, they can't gamble on sports. Cause then of course the argument was, well, it's bad for our children or the games will get corrupted. No, all the bookmakers were in the downtown area in the first district. So it's like the bookies were like, nah, that'll cut into our business. And that's why the casino that got killed. That's why there's no casinos in the city of Chicago city limits, because the mob the aldermen and the city, they were like, no, that ain't going to happen. So I don't know. I just got kind of old school respect for that kind of style of
you know, for me, there's a couple as far as like, wow, what a horrible grift. I would say, you know, obviously Obama's hope and change comes to mind. You know, just 8 years of a complete, not actually going to happen. And then the other thing, and of course, when I say like, you know, favorite grift is like, wow, this is what a hell of a grift that has, you know, decimated the American society. I would say the whole axis of evil, new American century with the Bush administration. You know, the whole way that they used 9/11 as a reason to invade 7 countries, or a list of eventual 7 countries. Some of them, you know, you can see that old interview with General Wesley Clark. There were just countries on there, just Middle East countries where they just wanted their oil. And they're like, we're just going to invade these. Why? Well, because evil, terrorism.
Bad.
What are you talking about? They had nothing to do with, well, we're going to make all that shit up. Don't worry. There's weapons of mass destruction, I swear. Oh, and by the way, we have a lot of stock in weapons manufacturers and defense. And we got a lot of stock in oil, too. And we're going to sell this, and it's going to go on for years and years and years. And guess what? They sold those lies, and it's still going on. It's still going on. And people still read the New York Times and the Washington Post, and they still listen to the intelligence agencies that all help sell this lie. Oh, and by the way, who was opposed to Iraq? That's running for that are the 2 major nominees for president. Neither one. Nope. Neither one. Fun time. So I'd say that's up there. That's got to get. Thank you for the question, Kate. That's a fun one. I appreciate it. Sparky, what's up, buddy? Thank you for the Super Chat contribution. Biden could be Obama too, wars and all. Yeah, he could. Definitely. Christopher Walker, what's up, my man? Appreciate you thinking of us here in Central California, Ron. Absolutely, man. I hope everything's okay. Wildfire updates. We have rain predicted for this weekend. And it'll be a blessing to have clean air. That's awesome. I hope you get the rain. I hope you get the rain. That's rain is a very precious commodity here in California. And man, we could use some here in Southern California. And it's weird. In my lifetime, I grew up in one of the rainiest places, I think not just in the country, but in the world, Western Pennsylvania, one of the rainiest places ever, where rain was just like, you would wake up to raindrops all the time. It was just something you did. When I moved to Seattle, I said, why do people complain about the rain? But I said that in the winter. I said that for people that really know the Northwest, they know in the summer it doesn't actually rain. But I thought that in the winter. I'm like, people say it rains there a bunch. I don't get it. It's like, no, because you actually grew up somewhere even freaking rainier. That's why you feel that way. But and now I live in a place where I'm just like, oh man, like whenever it's cloudy out, I just go outside and cross my fingers, saying, I hope we get something, please. Because yeah, we do need it. It would help. It would make a big difference. So I hope you get the rain up there in Central California, Chris, and I hope you're well. Luis Brooks sums it up very well. Whoever wins, we all lose. That's true. That's very true. There's some down ballot races I'm excited about, you know, and those are the things that I kind of that I try to that I try to keep a positive step about. You know what I mean? Sparky, what's up, buddy? Voted this morning in Atlanta. Well, you did your civic duty. Way to be a patriot, Sparky. Good job. No line, but there were big lines in the primary. DNC shenanigans in primary caused mucho apathy. I feel you. I feel you. And Sparky says replacement party, replacement party. I'm with you. I'm with you. Jackie, what's up, Jackie? I was supposed to be at your Portland show. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Jackie, we'll be back. I mean, as soon as it is safe to tour again, we will be touring again. Will that be in 2021? Hopefully. But if it's not, well, then I guess it'll be 2022. But whenever it is, we'll be back. When it's safe to be back, we'll be back. It's sad that at this point, we don't know when that'll be. But whenever it is, we'll be back. Maybe it'll be overseas before then. I don't know. Maybe other countries will really get it together and they'll do a thing where Americans can come over and perform as long as you're tested and screened or whatever. And maybe we'll get to the UK before we're able to hit the States again, or Canada, or maybe Australia. And I don't know. But I feel like it's safe to say when it's safe to be back, we will. And when it's safe to be back, especially Portland, you were on our list. Of course, we'll be back in Portland. So when it's safe to be back, we'll be back.
Yep. Yes, we will.
Yeah. Let's see here. Omar, what's up, Omar? What are the odds that Biden gets primaried? I think is what you're saying here. What's the odd that Biden gets primaried? Well, I don't think Biden's going to run for re-election. I think if Biden becomes president, which that may or may not happen, nothing would surprise me today. I have no idea. But I don't think Biden runs for re-election. So I think the question is, like, will Kamala Harris, who would likely run, will she get primaried? I certainly hope so.
I'm telling you, if Biden wins, I don't see him finishing his first term.
You don't even think he'll finish?
No.
I think he might finish, but he sure as hell won't run re-election. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't finish either. Nothing would surprise me, but I certainly don't see him running for re-election. I hope that Kamala Harris is primaried. And also, in addition to that, I hope there is a new viable alternative to the Democratic Party in 2024. That's what I hope for. That's not an easy order, but it's not impossible either. And that's what I'm hoping for, because, you know, if ever there's been a time for a new solution electorally, this is it. This is it. This is a time like there hasn't been in over 100 years, and that's no embellishment. I feel like this is the moment. So, but so yeah, we'll see. But so I think the chances are good. It won't be Biden; it'll be someone else. But I think the chances are pretty good. Sparky, what's up? 2020s thinning the herd, so keep on trucking, fellas, and let the wannabes sink. Then there'll be plenty of business, since you two are the real thing. Thanks, Sparky.
Thanks.
Sparky, Deep State Dan, will Biden keep Gina Haspel?
Yes.
You think so? You think a definite he'll keep Gina Haspel?
It's great. It fits right into. I should extend that to me. It's great for the Democrats because she fits. It's perfect for their identity politics. See, we have a woman head of the CIA. If they do replace her, it'll be with a person of color, a woman of color, a transgender person who whoever it is, they're going to love torture, and they're going to love a never-ending permanent state of intelligence that never is elected or voted out, or no one has to. We don't even get to look at their budgets. We have no say. The American people have no say on what the CIA's budget is. So they'll keep her in there. You know, of course. Yay, woman, gay, we did it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's already saying he's eyeing Republicans for his cabinet. Should he get, should he be, get the gig? So he fills a cabinet. He's already, he said he was okay with Amy Conner Barrett. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he kept her. He's certainly, the hawkishness is not going to go away no matter what happens. And we know that. The hawkishness is not going to go away. You have two hawkish potential presidents. So that's, that's just where we're at. Kate, Graham, if Jesse Ventura gets a California elector, Melissa said, if you want, you can vote in the Electoral College. California, Jesse Ventura, and Cynthia McKinney. There you go, Graham.
I will absolutely do that. If I'm an elector, I will absolutely give him one of California's electoral votes.
There you go, man. There you go.
You heard it here first, kids. Hey,
you heard it there. Yeah. And those knuckles are shaved.
Nice and glossy for the election.
Glossy for the election. Dude, you know what I did today? And this is just thinking about the election and all that. And I've never done anything like this before, but I looked in the mirror and I actually just I looked in the mirror and I was just like, all right, I'll take it. And that was it. Like that was just like my out loud reaction to looking. Like I was just like, okay, we'll go with this. Like just overall, like I was just like, yeah, all right, I'm into it. My cat's being really clingy. I think it's because she knows. She's like, okay, it's election night, and you're moving tomorrow. Try not to be an asshole. These are two stressful things. These are two very stressful things. I'll do my part as a cat, where you can like pet me to not be as pissed off. But you can't be an asshole because I'm kind of stressed out too. I don't like moving. I see these boxes everywhere. I'm not a fan. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, I'm just moving elsewhere in Los Angeles because my wife got a new job. So we're moving closer to her new job and figured, let's just take it all at once. Let's election, move, and then, starting.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Adopt a child on Thursday.
Yeah. And then we are rescuing a bunch of dogs on Thursday.
Yeah, good.
And then on Friday, we're building a boat. Not buying, building. I got wood. We're going to build. We're going to be closer to the water. So I'm building a boat. And then
good plan, buddy. Good plan.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. Over the weekend, we're starting a hockey team over the weekend. That's what we're doing. I can't really skate, but she can. So we're just going to like put me in the net, see what she can do on offense and defense. And hopefully I'll stop some stuff.
I think that's isn't that the Democratic Party's slogan? Hopefully we'll stop some stuff.
Hopefully we'll stop some stuff. Have you seen the other guys? All the teams we play will be even shittier than us.
Yeah. Their goalie's really bad.
That it doesn't even have skates, that goalie. But me, I can at least stand up in the net. I can do that.
Yeah. We'll try to stop some stuff.
Graham, so we're about to sign off here. What can we tell people that's coming up? Because we got a couple things.
Oh, well, tonight, 5:00 Pacific time, Political Vigilante live streaming. We're going to try to simulcast it on your channel as well, if we can figure that out technologically. But
we'll be letting everyone know. Everyone will know what's going on the Twitter sphere.
Yeah, we'll let everybody know on the Twitter. And so 5:00 will be 8:00 East Coast time. So that means all the East Coast polls will be closed by then. We might have some decisions. Cause I know like Georgia, a couple other states close at 7:00 East Coast time. Georgia's a potential swing state. North Carolina closed. I think their polls close at 7:30. Virginia. So we're going to start coverage with what's going on in the East Coast. We'll have some results by then. And then I'm going to go live, probably till about 7:30, 8:00 Pacific time. And during that time, hopefully you and I will be live and we'll get results and answer questions and see what's going on. And then at 9:00, I'm going to be on Crosstalk, 9:00 Pacific time on Crosstalk live with Peter Lavelle. And I'll be on that from 9 till about 9:30 or so. And then we'll see what's up, where everything's at. I might go back live again at 10:00, or I might just collapse because I'm exhausted. But if there's some like things that there's some decisions that could happen at that time, then I might go live again at 10. If not, I'll be live again tomorrow.
Right on, man. And I will be going on with Graham again. We're going to cover the election some. We're going to try to keep an eye on on some of the down ballot stuff too across the country. I mean, obviously, Shahid Buttar, Angelica Duenas, Lisa Savage over in Maine, who is she's the independent Green who, because of ranked choice voting, actually has a shot here. So that's a big freaking deal. There's a lot of other, candidates out there. Some of the local candidates here in Los Angeles. Nithya Raman is running for city council, which she's a Samajuant style candidate. So something like that would really, that would be a wave, not just here in Los Angeles, but amidst the country too. Because, Shamazawant, her presence has been felt across the country because of what she's been able to do in Seattle. And if Los Angeles, California has a city council member like that, that's going to rattle some cages. Same if in New York City, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. So, this is the way it's going. So we're going to be doing that. I'm actually going to be checking in with the Green Party. The Green Party's doing a live stream. I'm going to be checking in with them at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. I'll be checking in with them, chatting with them for a bit, and talking about just the future for third parties in general, and just our thoughts on the results. So a lot of stuff. Graham and I will be bouncing around a lot today. So it's going to be quite a day, but we're going to be here for you through a lot of it to get through some of the muck of it all. Jason, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. I don't think I have enough whiskey for tonight. Well, don't forget your t-shirt with that whiskey, Jason. And, be careful. Be careful. You guys are awesome, and I thank you. Cheers to the future. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate that. And yeah, we gotta stay positive. It's a rough time, but sometimes when you hit rock bottom, you kind of bounce up, and hopefully there's some silver linings that indicate that's going to be the case here. Sparky, thank you again. Build replacement party around Cynthia McKinney. Yeah, I mean, she's one of the leaders that comes to mind. There's quite a few folks that come to mind that you really hope are going to be instrumental in this thing. Graham, I will see you shortly.
Yeah, we have a show.
Oh, yes, we have a show. We have a big show. That's virtual. That's virtual.
Another Zoom show. What date did we decide on?
November 21st. November 21st, we're going to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We tried to be a little earlier for the East Coasters while still not being too early for the Pacific timers.
Yeah, it's our first live comedy Zoom show in a while. We're going to start doing more of those a little more regularly during the winter. So, and it's just $10, and we're just doing it through my Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And please specify that you are buying tickets for the comedy show, because other people donate to me through Venmo, and I do other business events. So say we're here for the November 21st comedy show, and the tickets are $10 each. And I know in the past we've done some fundraisers for not-for-profits, but this time the fundraising is for Ron and I, since YouTube is crushing both of our channels and we're losing money. So, so it's $10 a person. And just go to
our big show for 2020. This is, we had so many, you heard us reminisce about what 2020 could have been, and none of that happened. So we're doing the best with what we do have, and this is going to be a big Zoom show, a big reflection on the year, politically, and talking about what's going on and moving forward. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be cathartic, and there's going to be stand-up and songs and joy. And we hope you will join us. That's on November 21st. You can just Venmo $10 to Graham Elwood, Graham-Elwood, and then you'll get the Zoom link shortly before the show starts.
All right. Yes, guys.
All right. You guys, we'll be coming back. We'll see you soon. For those of you I won't see again, I'll see you. Actually, Get Your News On With Ron will not be streaming tomorrow because I'm moving just elsewhere in Los Angeles, but I am moving. So I'm not going to be live streaming for a little bit after today, but I'll be very active today. So in the meantime, until then, you know the drill. Lucy says meow, and she says hang in there. And I say peace. Peace.
Shave your knuckles for just